Maybe. Hey, how's it going, guys? We are back here. That's right, the Modern Men are going live once again. Tonight, we're talking about Drew's pick, Heroes Reborn by Jason Aaron. I believe it came out in 2021, if my memory serves me right. But before we get into that and just having a chat about amalgamized characters, because I'd hit live because we're having a good chat. But let's introduce the panel here. So over here, we have Jason. What is going on, Jason? How you doing tonight?
What's up, dude? Let's get into it.
And down in the basement, we got DruManchu, baby. How's it going, Drew?
Oh, it's going good. It's been a long weekend. Finally got off of work and got here to do this live stream. Jason, what are you watching up there?
You know what? I think it's the last Spider-Man movie.
Pete Speederman?
Yeah, Speederman. The one where all three are there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he's hanging outside the car. Yeah, Doc Ock's about to show up. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's on TV.
We just got copyright strike.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I can't. I'm just going to pretend that is not there. We'll see what happens. All right. Shout out to JB, DiscoveryBayComics. Unfortunately, he could not join us tonight, but definitely give his link a follow down below. Comment box. All the best to JB. Definitely give him a follow on YouTube and whatnot. I think he's selling tomorrow, so always got a shout out. JB, hope you're doing all right, man. But tonight we're reading Heroes Reborn. Drew has given me a little bit of context on this because this is his pick. I'll be honest, I haven't read a ton of Marvel since the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars. So pretty much since 2015, the only thing I've kind of took seriously or read seriously, I guess, would be House and Powers of X. So Drew, you're going to have to explain to me what in the world is going on here.
What's going on is that, during the Secret Empire, Deadpool killed Phil Coulson. He killed Phil Coulson. He took Phil Coulson.
That was a great run, right? That was Duggan.
And he killed him. Oh, man, that was a great run. I think the best part about that Deadpool run was Deadpool's connection to Steve Rogers and how much he admired Steve Rogers and how great Captain America is. And that kind of just keeps going in this story as well. Captain America is kind of the crux of everything. But Phil Coulson was murdered by Deadpool at the orders of Captain America before he revealed himself to be a bad guy. Deadpool was doing his dirty work, thinking that he was still a good guy. Phil Coulson then came back from the dead. How did he do that? Mephisto. He did it by being friends with Mephisto. Mephisto made him the president of the United States. And he brought in his own crime-fighting team, the Squadron Supreme, which was really great. And Mephisto helps him out here in this story by making it so the Avengers never existed. And the world is protected by the Earth's mightiest heroes, the Squadron Supreme. And to be honest, it's kind of a better world with these guys at the helm. But we know something's not right in this story because we get a through line through the character Blade, who is currently one of the Avengers, and he wakes up in this world and realizes something's not right. The Avengers have never really been, and as a vampire hunter, he's got nothing to do because there are no vampires, and he's bound to figure out what's going on with this world and why it's all wrong.
Dude, I recently got a giant Mephisto poster from Mondo. It was like one of those limited screen printed ones they put out. It's like this one. He's like on his throne hanging out. I'm like, oh, it's sick, dude. I had to get it.
That's fancy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. You gotta get a frame.
Now, for me, reading this, the first type of vibes I got a bunch of House of M vibes here, where in that one was it Scarlet Witch is like, no more mutants. And then all of a sudden, like everybody wakes up in a different world. Mutants are celebrities. No one really knows what's going on otherwise, except I think, what was it? Layla Miller was the whole crux of like, this isn't right. And then she started making other people remember something like that.
Yeah, doesn't she know things?
Yeah, she knows stuff.
Yeah.
Where was Layla Miller here? How did Blade replace her? Like, why does Drew, did we ever get an explanation on why Blade knows stuff?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because he's one of them day walking half breeds. You know what I mean? So like maybe the Mephisto mind trick didn't really work on him. But I don't think they really explain it. They don't really go too far into it. I think if you go into this run of comics thinking too hard about any of it, you're doing it wrong. This is purely punchy, kicky, blockbuster, Elseworlds storytelling where, everything is a little detail, and every one of those little details is an Easter egg. And it's more about that than it is kind of the nuts and bolts of how Mephisto works. Spoiler alert, he's the devil. He uses magic. So anything that you ask me that I don't know the answer to will be answered with, well, Mephisto's the devil and he's got magic. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a good enough reason for me.
Yeah, there's definitely some creative choices that were made for sure. I mean, it's definitely one of those just, you're right, punch him, hit him, explosion kind of things. But they were like, oh, Dr. Doom gets the, Gem of Sidorak and becomes the, Jugger Doom or whatever. Dr. Juggernaut?
Dr. Juggernaut, I believe, is what they go with.
As we said last time, I was like, why did he even need that? He's Dr. Doom. He has magic. He doesn't need to punch things, but it's cool. It's a cool image. It's fun to look at.
Right. Well, the Crimson Gem of Sidorak is just more magic. So he's just trying to get more magical, and he wants to be the unstoppable Dr. Juggernaut. He's not.
Yeah. Instead of using the magic, he just runs through things.
Right. It's pretty great.
Okay.
I think that the one thing that really comes through in this story is that the Squadron Supreme is an allegory for the Justice League.
DC. Mm-hmm.
So you're getting the best of what DC heroes have to offer through the lens of Marvel Comics. And I think that it's kind of a meta commentary on that as well, that the Marvel universe would be better off if the Justice League was in charge of fighting these villains, right? Than the Avengers. It's kind of something Jason Aaron throws at you a little bit in a couple ways. And, by the end of it, you get to see the joy of what is the Avengers and Marvel's celebration of one of their hottest properties. But beyond that, like, there's a lot of meta commentary throughout this entire thing about how effective the Justice League would be against the Marvel universe.
It was fun, like, amalgam stuff that you got, but like, I think it was better done than Infinity Warps, if you remember that.
Much better.
That's
why we read this and not that.
Yeah, this is a lot more fun than that. That was kind of, I don't know. I guess it was hit or miss, because I did like the Captain America, Doctor Strange amalgam. That
Soldier Supreme.
Yeah.
That was good. That was pretty good.
I think you got like a sequel to that too, but
they did a sequel to a couple of them. The X-23 Scarlet Witch
one, Scarlet Hex, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, the Scarlet Hex, or whatever. X-23. Who knows what they called it? But the book wasn't any good, but the character design was amazing. There was a lot of cool stuff in that. But I think that you said, as far as Heroes Reborn, Jason Aaron made a lot of creative choices. I think that every choice he makes in this book is very creative. I think that he's kind of letting his imagination run wild in a lot of ways, and that to me is just a recipe for a good time. And the fact that beyond the Ed McGuinness art, which you see throughout the entire story and bookends it on both ends, the beginning and the end, we also get a different artist for each individual character's story in each issue.
I like that. Yeah.
Which again gives these creative choices a whole nother level of random awesomeness. You get the James
flavor.
Stowe.
It's more fun instead of seeing the same thing the whole entire way. It's like each story, it's its own little flavor, its own little universe.
And each character gets their own kind of vibe. When you read the Dr. Spectrum story and you see him fighting Rocket Raccoon and Groot in space, and it's all drawn by James Stoke, it's just absolutely phenomenal. The colors are all vibrant and different, and it looks like none of the other stuff in this run. It doesn't look like that. It's just its own thing. And I think that each one of these stories has the opportunity to really shine on its own, as its own little piece of, like, what if, Batman was a Marvel character?
This was your second time reading through it, right? Or did you have?
I read this 4 times.
Oh, wow.
I read this when it came out. I read this as it was coming out. I read it again afterwards to kind of get like the whole kind of vibe on it. I do that with a lot of things that I really like. If I read, a mini series, 6 issues of something, and I really like it, after I'm done reading that last issue, and I'm like, wow, I'll go back and I'll read the whole thing in one sitting and kind of give it another go. Normally skim it, but at least go back and experience the beats again. And then a couple weeks ago, I was reading this and was like, oh, we definitely got to read this for modern men. And then I read it again this morning. Because it's such a quick read. There's a lot of words, I think, in some of these issues, but I think overall it flows really quickly. It's a really quick read. There's not a lot to really try to wrap your head around other than
there's
things are wrong. How do we make them right? And I'll be honest, it's, the beginning issue kind of shows you how the world is and then tells you, oh, it's wrong because Captain America was never thawed out. And then the next 5 issues are, here's Hyperion, here's his deal, here's his vibe, here's some things he's done throughout time, which was really cool. And it's like, I remember that time he killed the Hulk. That's like, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And then you get Nighthawk and his Batman inspired noir. Almost.
I was about to start
story.
that one, and that's the one I'm most excited to read because I love Batman. So I'm like really excited for that one. So don't spoil that one for me. That's why I just got to it.
It's basically what if Batman existed in the Marvel universe. It's really all it is.
Did you read the Hyperion solo spinoff issue?
I read all of the tie-ins.
Okay, how was that?
I haven't read all of the tie-ins again since they originally came out. But like, there's just some fun stuff in there. Like the Magneto book, you get to see what the X-Men are up to. There's like a prequel story. In this, you hear a little bit about how like he used to hang out with the Shi'ar Guard, and then he had to put down the Shi'ar Guard when they got infected by the Brood. And there's a mini series where you see that happen. There's a mini series, or I think it may be only a one shot. Peter Parker, the Amazing Shutterbug, and basically, since Hyperion is the Superman of the Marvel universe, Peter Parker doesn't get his powers, and he's basically Jimmy Olsen. So it's like you see him taking pictures of Hyperion flying around doing Hyperion stuff. I think I'm not a big fan of the Flash or Wonder Woman. These are 2 characters that I just don't really read on a regular basis. I see the appeal on its face, but like overall, it's like, remember that time when the Flash ran as fast as he ever fucking could?
Sure.
That's every Flash story.
It's like, do you remember when Batman solved the crime? It's the same thing. Remember when Superman had hope and love, and everyone won? And said,
I think there's a little bit more variety with those characters.
Dude,
it's just not my thing.
I guess,
but I really enjoy.
It can be if you give it a shot. Like, I really want to read the Flash by Cy Spurrier. He's just a great writer in general.
Sure,
great Constantine run. I heard the Flash is awesome.
I'm just saying personally, the Flash doesn't appeal to me. Wonder Woman doesn't appeal to me either. But the Power Princess story, I enjoyed, and the Blur story, I think might be the best Flash story I've ever read. I think it was a really good one shot of what it's like to be a speedster. I just think there was a really nice
ADD-ness.
Yeah, like
how many TVs do I got? Like 18 or 27? I forget what.
Right. I really enjoyed the kind of twist that, like, I'd never really seen that so much in a Flash story. But that's kind of where my brain would have gone. If I had super speed, I'd have to keep myself occupied. And he's like running like 80 Tinder dates at the same time. I just think that these characters are the same enough to properties that we all know, but with a little bit of a twist. And I just like the way that happens. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that I feel like this was Jason Aaron's response to Doomsday Clock, in the way that at the end of Doomsday Clock, we got the, Jeff Johns saying, yeah, we're going to do a Marvel DC crossover. And then that never happened. And Jason Aaron's like, look, we don't really need DC to do a Marvel DC crossover. I can do it with these characters here. And I thought it was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely more of a Didia thing where he didn't want that to happen. And all the heads up in Marvel were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to stick to making. If you're going to do amalgam, do it with our own. So they did Infinity Warps, and then this one later on as a response to that too. But I mean, now that we have those like omnibus coming out with both the 2 crossovers, the amalgam and Marvel vs. DC, and they're also being like co-released by both Marvel and DC. there's like greater cooperation that we haven't seen in decades happening right now. So like, I wouldn't put it past where this could happen again. We could get like a new amalgamation if enough people pre-order, which I think they are. Like, I'm waiting for it to hit instocktrades.com so you get like a good discounted price, but it might be so popular that it never reaches there. So I'm almost worried where I will have to pay full price for them, and I really don't want to because they're like $150 each. So we'll see. But
start a GoFundMe. Jason needs amalgam omnibuses. It's dire. It's dire, folks. We'll put a link at the bottom of the page.
All right, we got Cliff on comics in the chat. How you doing, Cliff? He says, I will never be tired of Superman giving us hope and love, which definitely Hyperion didn't have, that's for sure. Also, Flash is currently terrible. He says, dude's writing does not lend itself to Flash storytelling. I at least like the Mike Deodato art, but then I saw like one issue I was getting ready to read had a different artist. I'm like, no. So I at least like the Deodato art. I'm still giving the story a chance, but we'll see. Sometimes I just don't like like my size superior nitpick so far is sometimes like characters will just be muttering to themselves instead of having thought bubbles. So like each character, including Mr. Terrific, always has like a tiny little like not all caps font, and then when they're talking to somebody, well, it's just like, why? It's tiny nitpick, but whatever. Anyway, I was gonna ask about your guys' recollection of any Squadron Supreme stories, because I believe this is the first time I've really read any Squadron Supreme at all. Like, what was the only other time I kind of remember them was what was the J. Michael Straczynski story called, like Supreme Power, maybe?
Supreme Powers, yeah.
I remember a little bit about that when I first started collecting around the early 2000s again, but I never really got super into collecting that. Drew, have you read any other Squadron Supreme at all?
I have. There's a lot of really good stuff that Marvel has done with them over the years. Right after, maybe was it before Secret Wars or right after? They had a Squadron Sinister was one of the books. And that was a pretty cool book. Namor got his head cut off in that book.
Oh, good.
That was pretty dope. I don't remember who wrote it, but it was enjoyable. There was a Hyperion miniseries that just happened, probably like maybe a year before this did, which was short-lived but fun and enjoyable. Kind of gives another perspective on Mark Milton and who he was as a man, less than Hyperion as a superhero. But he's just your basic Superman allegory powered by the sun. He's an alien, though. They're from a different dimension, actually. They debuted in the Avengers as the Squadron Sinister. And then they went to another dimension, and they're like, oh, that's the Squadron Sinister. It's like, no, it's not. They're the Squadron Supreme. They're the good guys. Kind of like that Earth 2 crime syndicate. I don't even know which one came first. That's the way the big two work, is they feed off of each other with ideas. But I've always enjoyed them. They weren't always
Dragon. TJ Watson.
Hey, what's up, TJ?
What's going on, TJ?
I don't think they were always as much of an allegory for the Justice League as they are here. And like Blur is not part of the original Squadron Supreme. So that's a little bit of a different take. So he's kind of been part of the team in the past couple of years. But I really like how they put that together here, because they're characters that are established as being kind of, basic, everyday archetypes from comics, and this gives them the opportunity to have a little bit more meat and a little bit more direction on how Jason Aaron sees them as an allegory for the Justice League.
Yeah, the only other time I remember reading anything at all from, I didn't read the whole thing, but I think it was Ultimate Power is where they crossed over with the 1610 Ultimate Marvel Universe. And I think Nick Fury of the Ultimate Universe got trapped there, or stayed there for a while or something to keep an eye on the Squadron Supreme in their alternate universe. And that's probably about it. So my familiarity with these characters was obviously minimal. I just kept, like Jason Aaron kind of wanted us to, I just kept seeing, a dark version of the Justice League similar to, the Earth 3 DC Universe Earth, where they're all kind of just, evil and meddling and out for themselves. And, I don't know, maybe I'm, I guess there's a little bit more gray area with the Squadron Supreme. It's not like they go out of their way to be evil. They're just kind of, they
don't really think they're evil in this.
Yeah.
I don't think they're really even evil in this story at all. I think that they're doing their best to make the world a better place. I think that they're, you know, genuinely try, like when the Power Princess takes down Asgard, she doesn't do it because she thinks Asgard is a good place and she wants to take over. She does it because, you know, the Magog takes over and she has to put him down. And so it's like these are the things that happen throughout. It's like they're not bad people. They're good guys doing good things.
No, I mean, I think they're like
kind of
just
in the
misdirected
wrong way.
I mean, you had like the Green Lantern character guy where he's like, yeah, I always wanted to like grow up and be an astronaut and smash aliens in the face and take over every, you know, like it's like, you know, the Americanized version.
It's that
like,
American
exceptionalism,
right? That's kind of who he is.
Yeah,
but that's Mark Milton as Hyperion is pretty much the exact same way. But when you think about it, you know, that's kind of the image that a lot of people who aren't familiar with the nuance of the character see Captain America as. And I think that that's part of what Jason Aaron's saying here is that no, Captain America is definitely not that. Captain America is something much different and is very important to how things tick around here as far as the Marvel Universe.
There's definitely a difference between Captain America and Homelander. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of what you're you know. It's
and I wouldn't say Hyperion is Homelander, but he's definitely and I wouldn't say he's Superman, but I would definitely say he's somewhere in the middle there. You know, he's like you know, Homelander doesn't care about people. Mark Milton does. You know, he might have a little bit harder time relating to them than Superman does, though.
Sure.
So it's he's got his own thing going on there. But I like that they make him a school teacher. I think that's really cool. I like that, like the Hulk busts in and is like he can't figure out what's going on and why the world's wrong, and then like Hyperion's just like, well, I can't have Banner freaking out around these kids. Let's vaporize the fucking Hulk, and vaporizes the Hulk. So it's like there's beats within there that lets you know how powerful these characters are. Like
I like when he flew through Galactus's head, just like like a bullet.
Boop. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, and I think that this book is littered with those kind of little moments that it's like, oh, okay, if Superman was in the Marvel universe and had a little bit more of a grounded way of looking at things from, you know, the Marvel lens, what would he be like? And I think that is kind of cool. Slab Dragon's confused about Nighthawk. Nighthawk is awesome in this story. He's Batman. That's really all there is to it. He's Black Batman. He's Black Batman. It's like, oh, DC's always like every 4 years or so, the rumors like, oh, they're gonna make a Black Batman, and then the internet goes, no, don't do that, and half the internet goes, oh, we're ready for a Black Batman. Guess what? We have one. He's Nighthawk. He lives in the Marvel universe. He's Black Batman.
Now, I was gonna ask, did you guys have a favorite one shot or character from all this? I think mine was probably Dr. Spectrum, just because, you know, you talked about comparing Superman, Homelander, and, you know, all that earlier. I kind of like Dr. Spectrum just because he reminded me a lot of Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen, about how like he just found this, like, he got bestowed with like this godlike power basically, so it started to make him a little less human. But you also got to remember he was based off of Captain Atom. And this is kind of like an amalgamation of both of those characters for me. He's, you know, he was still like less human and had this great power, but he also had like this huge patriotism about him, to the point where he's like, I don't know about the space culture, but this is an American and I'm an American. I'm going to bring America to space or whatever. He just goes and fights Rocket Raccoon with a Groot gun.
He screws up because he's the Star brand, man.
That art was wild, man. That made it, you know, a lot more exciting, I think, than some of the others. Kind of remind me of like the Supergirl art, but you know, not as extreme.
Yeah. Have you ever read any of James Stokes' stuff before?
Mm-mm.
Have you read
maybe
Orkstain? You'd like Orkstain.
Orkstain.
Yeah, it's like sword and sorcery about orcs.
Okay.
It's amazing. I'll put you on.
Okay.
Jason, which one was your favorite?
I mean, I really wanted to read the Nighthawk one. That's one I've been waiting for. So I have high hopes for that one. That's the issue I'm on, the issue I stopped on. I really enjoyed the Dr. Spectrum one, but I probably would go with the speedster guy. with ADD.
The
I forget his name.
The Blur.
I'm like, Zoom? No, Blur.
Just reminds me of Smallville, where they didn't want to call Superboy Superman yet, so they called him the Red Blue Blur, and I've always hated the name the Blur ever since.
Yeah, that's awful.
We got Scott Evans in the chase. Says, man, 1 week I didn't get it. I missed the live BS. I will, though. No grade for nothing as of now. But I know Scott Evans, one of our biggest fans out there. I always like seeing him in the chats. I know he's going to read this. So definitely let us know what you think when you get to it in the comments. I definitely want to.
Scott, you can probably start reading it now and be done before we're done this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a really quick read.
Which one was your favorite of the one shot? Basically one shots.
I think that the Hyperion one was probably my favorite, just because that kind of sets the tone for like how the book is going to go. You know, you get the first issue was really great. Gives you, I guess, a little snapshot of each character, and in basically just Blade being like, "What is wrong with this world?" And which I loved. I think he was a lot like Bishop from the original X-Men animated series.
Oh yeah,
I'm from the future. Blade is just like, this place is all wrong. Like, where are the vampires at? Like, he's crazy. I love it. But that first issue where they kind of like show you the formula, you know, it's like we're gonna get some interludes as to what's going on in the background, but each one of these issues is going to focus on one of these characters. And I think that Hyperion's issue was just really, the art was great. It was solid, and there's just so many great fights and little nods to things he's done throughout the years in this universe, which make it kind of a living, breathing place. And I think that, you know, that carries over into each other issue where each of these characters gets fleshed out more. But I really enjoyed the way that issue hit.
Trying to think of any other ones I really liked. I guess the Hyperion one wasn't too bad. I'm just glad they kind of did it in this format, because like I said, I wasn't familiar with hardly any of the characters, just aside from, you know, my occasional, like, I'm going to check out, you know, the Ultimate Power issue 1 or the Supreme Power issue 1. Never really took the extra time to, you know, read the whole series. So I was kind of glad they flashed out the characters one at a time. And I guess the Power Princess one was a little bit better than I expected. I had pretty much no expectation for that character for some reason, just because I'm not a huge Wonder Woman guy either. Even though I've enjoyed Tom King's recent run, like, I've never really wanted to go read her individual stories. So I was kind of like, Power Princess kind of seems like a lame, you know, swap of a character or premise or whatever. But I actually kind of enjoyed hers just because, like, she'd lived for so long that she was just kind of running out of things to go punch, basically. Like, you just even see her in World War II. She's like, Namor, now there was a real man. We cut Adolf Hitler's head off. So I enjoyed her run more than I thought. And like I said, Dr. Spectrum was really good, and Hyperion, and Nighthawk one was okay. I don't, like I said, Jason, I know you were looking forward to that, so I don't want to say too much more about it. But I enjoyed seeing some of the Marvel villains get Gothamized a little bit. There's one in particular I do not want to spoil for you. I'd actually ended up busting out laughing once it was like, yeah, the more I thought about it, it made sense. But at first I'm like, really? That's their amalgamation here? But I'm like, oh, okay. Makes total sense. We could talk about next week if you want, but I really
enjoyed it. Is it going to be, what is it? Was it the Crawler? No, I'm trying to think of his name. He looks like the Joker, but he's not. He has like,
oh no, you think of like maybe the Creeper?
Thank you.
Yeah. It's basically who they picked to be the Harley Quinn of their universe.
Oh, okay.
I got a huge kick out of it.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah. I guess we could kind of talk, because I was like, I'm trying to think of any other story beats we could talk about. But basically, like, you got issue 1 where they set up things a little bit, and then they establish like Blade knows the 616, no one else does. And then the whole crux of the story is like Captain America was never thought out of the ice. So therefore we really never get the Avengers, and everything kind of goes downhill from there to the point where Squadron Supreme reigns supreme in this universe, basically. So along the way, Blade just goes and gets Captain America, and that's where the Ed McGuinness backup stories start on top of these Squadron Supreme one-shots. So I guess our team of like official Avengers heroes, and Drew, let me know if I forget one. We have, of course, Captain America, full beard and all, because somehow he grew a beard in the ice, I guess. And then, of course, Blade.
Can't stop those follicles.
Yeah. We got Blade, who's the basically the hero of the story, I suppose. Even though like by issue 7, he just gets his ass kicked in battle, and that's all he kind of does. And then there's a version of Echo, who has the Phoenix Force for some reason. They go recruit Echo. And then we got Starbrand, like this child Starbrand that came out of the rocket.
Starbrand's a baby.
Yep, baby Starbrand. And who else am I forgetting, Drew?
The Black Panther.
Yeah, that's right, Black Panther. Somehow they Wakanda is a myth in this world, and they traverse through space a lot, and I'm sure there was a spinoff that kind of explained their agenda more, but I never really got into that in the main story. Drew, do you remember anything about what Wakanda was doing in this?
No, and it's kind of a background thing, but I think the fact that the Wakanda is a myth is the fact that Black Panther did not interact with the Avengers. He wasn't
right.
The Fantastic Four and Black Panther never got together so his son could come and be an Avenger in the future. That just didn't happen. I think that Black Panther is kind of an OP character in Aaron's run of the Avengers, and I think that him keeping him off the board until kind of the very end was smart. I think throughout this story, it's basically Blade wakes up and he's like, "What's going on? What I've been around the world and Robbie Reyes isn't the Ghost Rider. Carol Danvers never got powers, and Tony Stark, drank himself to death or something. Like there's the list of things that all these Avengers never happened, and nobody seems to know about Captain America at all as far as being unthawed. So he goes to find Thor, and Thor's just drunk. And he talks to Thor until Thor gets angry and sobers up and realizes he's a god from Asgard. They go and they get Captain America out of the ice. They thaw him out. And then it's like they got to show him, like, Steve, the world's not right. You're going to know. And Steve has no real idea what's going on because he was in ice. But he kind of gets it. They all get on board with it. And throughout the story, it's like fits perfectly into Aaron's run on Avengers, where he kind of took a break to do this. So the Phoenix Force and Echo, that was a whole story arc that happened right before this. The Starbrand arc happened right before this as well. So these things are starting to pile up on each other, and all these characters just kind of taken off the board. So if you're reading Aaron's run, it's basically like one day the team's not there, and then Blade has to put the team together and like his let's put the band back together type of backup story, while you get snapshots of who these other characters are in this alternate universe. It's a really fun way to read it if you're reading Aaron's run all along. The bookend stuff is kind of wonky if you don't know what's going on in Aaron's run, but if you just look at it as like there were heroes, then there weren't, and then the heroes came back. That's really all there is to it. You don't need to know the nuance of the Phoenix story. Just there's a Phoenix. It's like, who is it? It doesn't matter. It's Echo. It doesn't matter. Does it? If the Phoenix Force is there, does it really matter who it's embodied by? It's the Phoenix. And Aaron did a lot of stuff with that throughout his run that kind of makes the Phoenix Force kind of ubiquitous and just like a power set that somebody gets. Like there is a whole tease that the Phoenix Force was actually Thor's mother, which is like, that wasn't the thing. And that was like a bait and switch. But like there was all this stuff where like, Odin was banging the Phoenix Force back in the Avengers BC. Yeah, that was really fun stuff. And Ed McGuinness was doing a lot of the art, was like the regular artist for Aaron's run. So him being on that, the through line stories, it's pitch perfect. It's exactly.
Yeah, I remember they teased like the Squadron Supreme for a while in the Avengers run.
They did, yeah.
And then finally, so I guess they were building up to this, and it was fine. Yeah, I liked it good enough, But yeah, I mean, I don't expect that much exposition. It's kind of like a put on the back burner in front of all all the action and stuff is up front, and all the fun character designs. And then if you're looking for some kind of story substance, it's on the back burner. But other than that, like I think I enjoyed it overall. I mean, I don't know if I would grade it very high, but I think it was a good connection with his run. It fit perfectly with it. You know, it didn't seem out of place or like left field too much. It was just kind of, and I feel like if you're right, like if you didn't even read his run, you could just jump into this and it's like fine. Yeah, you would get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to follow.
Yeah, I think narratively it leaves something to be desired, but I feel like as far as the writing goes, there's a lot of really cool nuanced stuff in these character vignettes. Is somebody peeking?
Yep, I want to get into the chat here. We got Cliff on Comics is asking, Blade was the only person for the recollection of the proper universe, right? I believe so. It's just like him and basically Mephisto. I don't know if they ever
Coulson knew.
Explained why. Right?
Oh, Coulson did know?
Coulson,
okay.
Yeah, Coulson knew what was up. Yeah, Coulson was like,
it was his wish, right?
Yeah. It was like Mephisto pretty much was working through Coulson, but Coulson knew what was going on. He wanted Captain America to never exist because Captain America had him killed. Like, that's really all there is to it.
Weird.
And he was bitter about it. And he didn't care that it was a different iteration of Captain America. He didn't care that like he got split in two by a cosmic cube eventually, and one was good and one was evil. He didn't care that eventually in the X-Men comics, one of them would be Captain Krakoa. Yeah, that happened. The evil Steve Rogers was Captain Krakoa. Yeah, that was a thing. Don't ask me why.
That was Cyclops, but yeah.
It was, and then Cyclops died, and then he came back, and then it couldn't be Cyclops anymore, and then Cyclops was busy being Cyclops, and they're like, "Who's Captain Krakoa?" And then he's like, took his mask off, and they're like, "Steve Rogers," and he's like, "Guess again, I'm the bad guy," and like, that's how that happened. Yeah, Stevel. Yeah, so like there's that whole nonsense happened, but like
I thought he got killed by the Punisher, like Rosenberg's Punisher run at the end.
I don't think he did.
No. Maybe it was Baron Zemo. I think he might have got killed too. I don't remember. Oh well.
Well, when he was wearing the Iron Man armor.
No, it was past that. It was the same run, but it was like the third or fourth volume to that. Yeah.
I like that run where he was wearing the armor.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really cool. Just like going into prisons and using Iron Man flamethrowers just
set
people on fire while they're in cages.
Like, so good.
It's just terrible.
All right, we got Christina Payne in the chat. What is going on, Christina? Nice to see you in the chat tonight. We got the Great Legend Show peeking around the corner doing his best Perry Comics impression right there. He says, looking good, boys, looking real good. And Cliff on Comics says, Evil Steve as Cap Krakoa was very recent.
Very recent, yeah.
Hydra Cap was presumed dead. And the Great Legend likes the Cactus Jack shirt.
Yeah, that's
Guess
right.
we'll have to wear matching shirts at some point because I have that same one with the red flannel too, of course.
And it was never explained why Blade knew though, right? Why he was like the only one.
I don't think they really got into it, to be honest. I think that it's just Mephisto magic is kind of all there is to it.
Vampires, daywalkers.
Yeah, he's got daywalker blood.
All right.
Well, I don't know what that means.
They should have just used Layla Miller. She was stood more of a chance in that closing fight.
Yeah, so she knows things. So,
but I guess we could talk a quick word about that final fight because I mean that was just like the hero's return one-shot issue basically, and just they show up and fight, and Squadron Supreme kind of they leave their mark, that's for sure. But it kind of comes down to what Starbrand and Echo Phoenix just kind of blast the Coulson cube, and Coulson gets sucked into it. Mephisto kind of abandons them, and somehow things are back to normal. Like, Drew, did I miss something here?
No, dude. No, the Avengers came together and they avenged. Was it supposed to take more than one issue? They're the Avengers. Come on. I think that the thing that we're left with here at the end is like we got a whole council of Mephistos at the end. He's ready to wreak some havoc. And, you know, that you can tell there's something else going to happen after this. Who knows what, but you might as well stay tuned and find out, you know. I thought it was a really good book. I enjoyed how they kind of just at the end, they were just like, no, when the Avengers get here, you know, they're going to put things together very quickly. You got the Starbrand, which is a huge, intergalactic power. You got the Phoenix, which is a huge intergalactic power. That can stop the devil's magic.
Drew, I gotta stop you though, because 1 second. I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Oh,
we
God,
got
he's here?
bad news. Chris
He's
Barrett hanging out in the chat. What is going on? Bad news, Barrett. And then, that's kind of why I said, Scott Evans says, LOL, they're the Avengers. They win. Legend made sure I got the little water sip in. Had to mark out for that. All right. I guess we can kind of since there wasn't tons of story substance here, I guess we can start to get into our final thoughts and scores. So, Drew, this was your read, your pick, because you won the poll. Tell us what you thought about this.
I just think it's dumb fun. I just think when I was reading it, I was thinking, we were reading some other stuff when we restarted the Modern Men run here, and some heavier stuff, some weightier things, some things that maybe this is a modern classic. The Moby Dick of modern comics. I don't give a shit about the Moby Dick of modern comics. Let's just let's read a book that's like the Reindeer Games of modern comics. It's just stupid, and we can read it and have fun. And the character designs are great. The art's great. There's a little bit of variety in there. You get, Blade being Blade and just sitting there in a hoodie being like, I don't like the sun. I don't know why all these people aren't being Avengers no more. It's just like, he's just too old for this shit. Right off the bat. I thought it was fun. But I'm not going to rate it too high. I was like a 9.2. I don't think it aspires to be more than that. I think it was just what can we do as a fun aside, a fun little what if, Elseworlds kind of story here. And then I think the one thing that Marvel does that's really fun with those kind of stories is it folds them into the universe pretty well as pocket universes, little interdimensional things. It worked with House of M. I thought it worked pretty well with what was that? What's that X-Men story? Age of X-Man. I think that was, they do a good job with those kind of things. And I think this is just characters, and the characters that you don't, they do a good job of putting them together. And there's also characters that that are 2 or 3 characters that jammed together. Scarlet Witch, we didn't talk about it, but Scarlet Witch is the Silver Witch because she absorbs Pietro's powers with the spell right before he dies. And she wants to fight the Blur because they're speedsters. So you got speed and magic fighting them at the same time. The panels are great. The action's great. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Thanos is in it. He's cool. It's like you got Rocket and Groot. They're fun. You get the characters that the characters that you don't are really well put together. I just dig it. I thought it was awesome. 9.2, man.
All right, I gotta get my other water sip guys here. So let me get my other water sip. I'm running low on water. But we got the Mastodon. What is going on, Donnie? Legend's very excited to see Donnie in the chat. We got Donnie hanging out in the chat tonight. Very happy to see the Mastodon Comics and Music hanging out tonight as well. And then Chris Barrett and Legend are talking about retiree life. But Drew gave his score. What do you think, Jason?
Drew brought up some good points. I was going to give it like an 8.0 or 8.5 because it's all like sugar and no substance. It's just eating a whole entire bowl of Lucky Charms with just the marshmallows, But, it's a good point because you got to think of the writer's intents. What is the intent of it? If he wasn't trying to be Alan Moore here, you know what I mean? He's just doing his run, having fun, creating this new world that he built up to. It wasn't just out of left field. It was all planned out fine. It's all very serviceable. It's just fine Marvel comics. It's just it's on the bar. It's on the level. It's what you expect from the average reader. You can hop onto it. So yeah, I mean. I think Drew motivated me to put it a little higher rating. I'll give it a 9.0 gold label. Maybe.
Nice. Don't want to shout out some more of the chat. We got Aggressive Elite Relaxing hanging out. How you doing? Chris Barrett loves how the band's slowly getting back together.
Yeah.
Have a good night, Mastodon. I do like marshmallows too. That's great.
Oops all berries, baby.
Yep.
we got us a bowl of oops all berries.
I think my score, I think I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5. I'm going to go weird green label signed by Jason Aaron, but they should have sent it to CBCS to get the extra $20 to get that gold label. They forgot to get it, witnessed. But basically, yeah, I mean, it was a fun story, a little bit more fun than I thought. With that being said, there just wasn't a lot of substance here, but it did do a good job of taking these characters. I had no idea who most of them were, and at least giving them each time to shine in their each individual issue. And then just having fun with the concept Drew talked about, where Jason Aaron had a good idea for DC Marvel crossover. It didn't come to fruition. So how can we kind of grow upon that and use it in just the Marvel universe and still get something out of the story and have some fun with it? And yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just dumb fun. It's just feels like almost like, I don't know if we compare this to like a Michael Bay movie where it's just like, okay, here's some action and some more action and some more action, a little bit of substance sprinkled over here, just so have some context on what's going on in this universe. But yeah, I thought it was just a fun, like, let's establish who the Squadron Supreme is again and throw them in this conflict. And oh, by the way, there's a whole council of Mephistos lurking around the back of the Marvel universe. What's going to happen next with them? Who knows? I guess that's the possibilities are infinite, as are a lot of them in the Marvel universe. So I'm going to go 8.5. Would I read this again? I don't know. Maybe I'll read some of the spin-offs if I'm that bored and they pop up in my suggested Marvel Unlimited feed or something like that. But yeah, that's, I guess, sums up our review of this. Now, we got a little bit of time, and I didn't really have any topics tonight. We got a few people chatting around the chat, so I kind of just wanted to keep the thing going here. See if you guys, what are you guys reading, collecting, anything at all? Anything you guys want to talk about or highlight that you've been collecting?
Well, I just finished watching the X-Men 97 cartoons today. Nice. I voted them, all of them. I don't know what's a thumbs up here. I think it does this now.
Oh, weird. I've never seen that.
What was that?
Yeah, me either.
The AI is taking over.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That didn't happen to me earlier.
Amazing. Incredible technology is here.
How did you make that happen?
I think you have to have an Apple computer. It does it again.
Whole bunch of Mephistos causing this.
You have an Apple computer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. I have a computer.
It's made out of apples. Okay. But yeah, I mean, as far as stuff I'm collecting, it's like mostly like not omnibus, but maybe some of those like absolute editions. Trying to think what else I got recently. Now it's been a while, man. Yeah, it's some single issues every now and then. What were you collecting? See what recently you were looking for some TMNT. You trying to collect finish up your Malibu run?
Yeah, I'm like one issue away on the Mirage run. I think it's like issue either 44 or 45, just like one of those like non-key run filler types. But I did just get like, I got like a whole stack right here. I think I showed on my previous haul video at Indiana Comic-Con. Like I'm even going after these color classics.
Oh, cool.
Because like I got them half off. Like I got the issue 1 for $5, which I think is a steal on this.
That's good.
So found the issue 1, found the issue 2. I guess the craziest book I bought as of recent. Oh, by the way, there's the issue 26. This is one of the 3 I needed. So luckily, at least got, and that's I think Rich Veach. Yeah,
Rick Veach is awesome.
He does a small run of Turtles like around this point. I think he has like a 3-issue run. And they're all really cool so far. But like once I collect all of them, I'm going to read them start to finish. And then probably start to get into volume 2, which these are very low print run and hard to find. So when I find them for like, like this one was $5, luckily, for the issue 2. I had the issue 1 already, but there's not a lot of the volume 2. So I'm slowly trying to get those. I'm getting this batshit crazy issue, volume 3 of, I completed it with this. So I'll be reading that once I get to it. But there's like, I think like Donatello's like a robot basically at this point, and like I think Raphael lost an eye, and like there's a fake there's Raph with his eye patch. So I think they introduced Venus, but then like take Venus out because they didn't want a female turtle at the time in the comics. These Tales of TMNTs, another really hard to find. It's the longest TMNT run before IDW, and you can't find barely any one of these. There's like 72 issues of it. And you never see these either, so I'm trying to collect those. got a Swamp Thing recently that was signed by Lynn Wein.
Oh,
on
cool.
the inside, so I grabbed that. They're wrapping up. Speaking of Jason Aaron, they're wrapping up the current TMNT run. I got this one signed by Gavin Smith. He did the art on it, and I really cannot wait till Jason Aaron gets his take on the Turtles. They're rebooting everything and all that good stuff. So really looking forward to that. And then I did get some signatures at Indiana Comic Con. I'll show one because I've already showed a bunch of these. I got Jim Starlin to sign a few books, Batman 423.
So sick.
Got him to sign my first Thanos, first Drax. Not the greatest signature. Oh yeah, he put it by Iron Man's leg. So I got that signed. And then
that's a good one.
Yeah. Got the Infinity Gauntlet double signed by George Perez on the bottom.
Who?
Back in the day. Yeah. Drew, I think. Oh, yeah. Great Legend was there when I got this signed, at least. And then I got Jim Starlin to double sign that.
I was standing with JD waiting in the back of the line.
Yep.
And then the craziest book I got is probably this TMNT 20. This is volume 4, which I think these were like even being released during the IDW start. So it's super weird that these like were existing as long as they did, but that I think there were like less than 1,500 of this issue printed, and anything after this, you pretty much had to meet Peter Laird, who was semi-retired at like a local new like East Coast con, and he just sold them off his table signed. So like those are like the true unicorns of TMNT collecting. So like I think it's 29, 30, and 31. Volume 4, like I will never see those. So like when I saw at least this at a con, like not on eBay, I'm like, and it was half off. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to have that.
That
Drew,
rules,
what are you collecting, Drew?
I tell you what, I'm reading the end of the X-Men stuff right now, and I'll probably pick up the majority of the new stuff that's coming out. Think about what else I'm reading. Tenement, which is more
Sorrentino and Lemire.
horror goodness from Sorrentino and Lemire, just moody
Dude, I read all those except for like that new Tenement. I think I read the first issue, but I read all the precursor of that. What's it called? What's the universe?
I didn't
called?
read any of that shit. I just read Gideon Falls, and then Tenement came out, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna get this.
Dude, you got to read all the stuff coming up to it. I know it's like they're like same world, but they're not really connected to the story, but they're worth reading. I think my favorite one is like the free comic book day issue. It's just one issue, and it's like kind of like weird Twin Peaks kind of doppelganger type thing going on. I hope it comes back around.
Nice.
I've been buying Marvel Legends like they're going out of style. I got this Blades here.
Sick.
Clea's right here. I got Build-A-Figure pieces for a mindless one that I don't have yet. And this fucking Zdarsky Daredevil. He's pretty dope. Yeah, so I've been buying a lot of those. There's like a ass ton of Marvel Legends recently. And I'm collecting AEW figures still, even though I'm not watching this show anymore. I still think those Jazzworks figures are really freaking cool.
Dude, that last Tony Storm promo she did was amazing.
Oh, dude, I watched Tony Storm read the phone book as long as her butt's on screen. Yesterday was 420, so like I got real tweaked up like early in the morning. I got home from work Friday night and at like 10:30, and just was like, I'm going to bed. And then I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, raring to go. So at like 6 a.m., I took a doobie to the head and went to the flea market and sorted through some books. These all must have been in some sort of comic shop at some point because they're all overpriced, but I got them all for $1.
Nice.
Which is cool. This Marvel Comics 1000 variant cover here.
Oh, okay. Can't beat that for $1. What was that originally, like $10?
I think it was $10 cover price.
Yeah.
$7.99 on the sticker. So
so they would have originally got a $2 discount.
Yeah, this is a little minor key here. This new X-Men right here.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's super crispy too. They got $10 on it. I got it for $1. Can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I just got that whole run actually from my local shop.
Yeah, it's a good run.
It's a very good run.
I got this What If issue right here. So was it 34?
I'll get into the chat in a few, Legend, but RoboCop. Legend says, I'll buy that for $1.
You know, my favorite thing about these What If issues is, and I really, really love this, but this is the art on this. Cover was done by Bob Layton, and he signs it right next to the box here. I don't know if you can see it. It says, What If Bob Layton Could Draw.
You know, we forgot to mention the fact that the Watcher in this universe had his eyes taken out by Dr. Spectrum.
That's right.
The Watcher in the standard Marvel universe had his eyes removed by the Orb. And in Original Sin, written by Jason Aaron. So
that's right. That was
to come back and do that.
Jason Aaron hates the Watcher.
Yeah. There's another little minor key here.
Okay.
Jonathan Kent, issue number 1.
I think I might have that one. That's not bad.
For $1?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? It's a $6 book.
Gotta get your John Kent.
$6 cover price. I love this variant cover, and it's way overpriced at $10. Probably like a $5 book, but
I just found that one for $2 not too long ago as well. I like that. Have you read that whole thing? The Marvel Zombies vs. Zombie Darkness?
Have.
It's good.
I have.
It's a lot of fun.
But that, I mean, it's that cover is just amazing. Anytime you're gonna do a homage cover, go for it. Hey, Wolverine used to have adamantium.
Oh, that's a steal for $1.
Yeah, for $1, and it's like the spine is so crispy, and that's
is that a blue card?
It's a Gambit green hologram.
Okay. One of the first comics I ever bought.
For $1, minor key.
I like that one a lot. That whole 52 run's great.
That's that first Montoya question.
Yeah, it's question.
You're asking questions about Montoya. How about this concept design variant on Django Fett number 1? For $1?
Yeah,
sure. Why not? I like Mandalorians.
By the way, what we got the chat here? I was thinking, I think the next time we might do a show is like May 4th or May 5th, which is right around. Hey, isn't that like Star Wars Day and Free Comic Day?
The day after Star Wars Day and Free Comic Book Day.
So if anyone has any ideas on if we should read a Star Wars comic, I'd be curious to see some suggestions. Oh, I just saw that for $1 and left it at $1 bin the other day.
Depends on condition. This one's really nice shape.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling they're probably going to end up doing something Nate Gray Cable in the MCU eventually. So we'll see. So this is definitely overpriced at $14.99.
Oh God, yeah. Who would? Yeah, I feel bad if someone tried to pay that.
But it's a really
good book, though.
It's really good shape. This one's a little bit rougher, and I have no idea what they thought they were doing here.
Oh, newsstand.
But it's
Let me hear. We got the Great Legend here. Give me 1 sec. Hold that one up. We got newsstand.
The thing that's great about this book here is it's like a quadruple key. Yeah, Death of Kilowog, Death of Sinestro, first Parallax, and first Kyle Rayner as Green Lantern.
That's true. It's a good book to get. So. One of my favorites as a kid, for sure.
Yeah, it's it's a quadruple key. It's not great, but for $1 a piece, I got the newsstand and the direct.
Yeah, you can't beat that for $1.
Put it with my other stack of random ass Green Lantern comics.
Nice. I want to get into this. What the chat's collecting here. Let me scroll up a little bit.
That's $10 right there.
Some sort of Twitch bot. We'll skip that one. All right, I think I'm almost there. Let's see. Scott Evans says X-Men is great. Yeah, that's probably true. We got Chris Barrett says he's collecting wrestling and NASCAR cards still.
I don't know anything about NASCAR, but I'm pretty sure the card game there is just as good as anything else.
Cliff says currently collecting all the X books, but will tone it down for the new titles. Back issues focusing on Marvel Team Up and Defenders. Yeah, those two good ones to collect because I kind of see those all the time. I just don't run fill them, so I don't really know. Like, there's a few keys I got in each of those, but I'm not like going after all of them. But that's a good one to like. Yeah, if you're just trying to get a run for and not break the bank, those are two really good runs to collect, in my opinion. The Great Legend says he's collecting FF, Shazam, and he finished Dark Shadows. Wow, that's quite a bit. So the Great Legend has some legendary runs too, and he actually reads and finishes them. Scott Evans likes that TMNT. Once again, I can't wait for that Jason Aaron stuff. I can't wait for 152. Like, it's been so insane lately. I'm really curious to see how they're going to end the IDW run. Like, there's time travel, variants of Turtles, kids that you've seen future versions of getting turned into humans, but they were turtle anyway. It's very confusing. Aggressively Relaxing says, I found a Deep Space Nine comic with Cisco trading card in it, going pretty good over this way. It's funny. He says, I only get new stuff because I have old stuff already. Yeah, I've been reading, and he says, wow, he finished the Dick Tracy hardcovers too. That's awesome. Barrett says, in the midst of getting an autograph card of every NASCAR Cup champion. It's going to be a real challenge, but it will be fun. Legend wants to play some WWE tonight.
Hell yeah, I'm down.
I might play for a little bit. Jason, if you want to join too.
I got it on PS5. I haven't double dipped yet. I still practice. So once I get good, then maybe I'll double dip and come over.
We gotta get another GoFundMe going here.
It's two now.
Yeah, it only took
get him a $120 copy of the special edition.
Thanks, y'all.
WrestleMania 40.
We reached the goal. Thank you.
Barrett says, after those years, Uncle Drew still questions who that George Perez guy is.
No idea.
Great Legend says, George saw my books and CBCS slabbed Gold Sig 1 in 500 FF variant 9 point. Will never get rid of it. We had a moment with George that I will never forget.
Was that old man who gave the con crud to Cat Rent Figures?
Yes. Yep. But she got her hug, and Great Legend says, calm down there, big fella. Oh, I think that was when you were talking about Tony Storm.
Hey, I don't got any problem talking about Tony Storm.
Chris Barrett says, last time I watched AEW was to watch Punk attack Jack Perry and Tony Khan.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow. Scott Evans says Ethan Page shops at his store. Probably a good toy store. I like watching his toy haul videos.
Nice.
Gotta love RoboCop. Cliff's a fan of John Kent. Chris Barrett says, good friend who worked with Dirty Dom at Mania 39 confirmed that to me that Dirty Dom enjoys to hit the Jonah Hex pin. I don't seem surprised at all there.
Throwing it back, Jonah Hex pen. I haven't heard that reference in quite a while.
Yeah,
makes me happy.
He also says holofoil cards on those covers. Yeah, I miss some the 90s covers. I miss the most. I like the holo cards, and I miss the old school chromium. I hate when people call like the new style foil chromium. Like, no, I want my chromium back. Give me the gimmicks.
So I've got a question. He's collecting all those NASCAR stuffs, right? I don't know anything about motorsports. You guys know anything about motorsports?
I do not.
Okay,
so I live in Indiana. I do not. I feel like that's a shame. But
sitting at a bar the other night, grabbing a burger, and I look up and there's like drag racing, national, championship drag racing going on. And did you guys know that like there's a drag racing champion, and she's a hot, petite blonde, and her name is Brittany Force. Like, that's her legal name, is Brittany Force. And she's a championship drag racer. She's a hot woman. And you know what I thought to myself at that moment is like, God, I love America.
Dude, yeah, there's a, God, I wish I could remember this. It's a new band. They're like a hardcore band, but they're all themed like NASCAR car wrecks. Like, that's like, I gotta find this band. Hold on, I'll give me a couple minutes here, but whole entire themed.
Chris Barrett says they have 4 divisions in drag racing.
Okay,
and this was an actual hot woman. It wasn't a RuPaul drag race.
Dude, this band is called. Hold on, sorry. There you go. They're called Restrictor Plate, and the album's called Slamtona 500. So that's for you, Chris Barrett. Restrictor Plate, Slamtona 500. Check them out, dude.
Love that cover. All the wrecked cars. There's like one. Oh, has a wheel flying off.
Just insane hardcore. Just all themed about just wrecking cars and shit. Beating with a monkey wrench. Look at that. Let's see what other song titles are here. You got Truck Nuts, Earnhardt Stomp.
Earnhardt Stomp.
Amazing, dude. So sick.
Wow.
Check it out.
Slamtona
500 Restrictor Plate.
Man.
Wow.
This has been Motorsports Corner here on Modern Men.
See if I got anything else to show here. I got books all over the place here. let's see if I got another stack.
I got some fun stuff. I'm gonna go grab these real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we're just sitting there hanging out. Why not show some more books? I bought some more Captain Marvels. Here, I guess I can put myself on the big screen before I get my hands full here. I guess I got some more Captain Marvels. I thought I was like, well, I'm meeting Jim Starlin, but I wasn't going to pay to get all these signed. I got issue 31, and then they had an issue 30 as well. I did pay up on these. They're like 8. Actually, I might have got these like 20%. So
oh, God, I love that run.
Yeah, I at least wanted to get all the Starlins out of the Captain
so good
Marvel run for sure. I think these were, I probably got these like 20% off, actually. I got a Thor 300 for like, $3 or something.
Nice.
So I figured, why not? They had some cheap spawns, like sub 100. So here's a Spawn 112. It was a newsstand. So I was like, well, that's probably worth more than $3 or $4. Then I just got some Greg Capullo covers for basically cover price on these spawns. So there's 73, 74. And I don't collect a lot of Spawn, but I'm like, well, I'm surprised these are still on the shelves, so I just picked them up. Later, Cliff. Thanks for joining us tonight. I won't show all of the Spawn because there's a lot there. We got Gollum Strange Tales 177. That's like getting the it was $1. That goes a Frank Bruner cover for $1. So anytime I see $1 Frank Bruner, I'm not leaving that.
Cool.
Read this. I got this Web of Spider-Man #1. I'm trying to think if I even read it. Like some of these newer Spider-Mans I've been reading, I just have not enjoyed the stories too much. I just, it was a cover buy, of course, but I've been trying to read them, but I'm like, well, at least it's a cool Greg Capullo cover. But I think cover price was like $8. Like, are you kidding me? Wow. So it's, that's why I'm not collecting too much modern Marvel. I read digitally when I can. I got an X Factor 71. It's a second print from the Peter David run. So, like the gold. I do try to get these Peter David X Factors when I can. Because I mean,
love that run too.
That's the X Factor guy. Like, I really like Volume 2 a lot with, the Madrix Investigation Agency. That's one of my favorites. I got an all new X-Men #20. I think for some reason, I don't think I had this one. I have like the first like 16, 17 issues, but they had this one for $1. Kind of stopped reading at this point, but I'm like, well, I may as well get that because I have a bunch of this run. Didn't have
Wolverines get horny for Jean Grey enough. I think that one Wolverine gets horny for Cyclops.
Yeah, that's why I thought that was pretty hilarious. I had to get that. Got X-Men 27. Didn't have this in my run for some reason. It was $1, so I added it.
Beautiful cover.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
X-Men Adventures 11. Surprised to see this was still laying in there for $1 because Adventures is, obviously a little harder to come by. Punisher #4. I did not know Bernie Wrightson ever did a Punisher cover, but apparently him and Joe Jusko teamed up for one.
That's sick.
So that was really cool. So I wasn't leaving that for $1. Strange Academy #5. I have no idea what a remote learning variant edition is, so I just went ahead and picked it up because it was still in there.
They put it out for the the pandemic when everybody was
I guess that makes sense.
Schooling via Zoom.
Okay. I thought this was a really cool Clayton Crane cover on Ghost Rider Trail of Tears.
Yeah, it is.
Seen that before. So I was just talking about in our X-Force review, like how cool it was when
he does the interiors on that as well.
Yeah. So I'm definitely have to open this up because I was like, well, it'd be cool to see Clayton Crane draw Ghost Rider, and then I found this like within a week. So Drew, you like this? I think this is my second copy I found for $1, like within the last 2 months. It's Guardians of the Galaxy 25.
Oh, what
Thanos
a great book.
Yeah.
You got that for $1?
This is my second copy at the same location for $1. So I have two copies I bought for $1 each.
At the height of Thanos collecting, that book was going for like $50.
I've actually through half price recently. I've gotten most of this run. I just need the issue 1 and a few other fillers.
That run is pretty pricey for a modern run.
Yeah, I was happy to find most of it for I found issue 2 through whatever for $1. I got where Groot joins the team and all that stuff, but I need now I gotta look for the issue 1 at C2E2, I guess. We're talking about Defenders there. I think Cliff already left, but I found a 119 for $1 that looks nice copy. Nice. Yeah, so I was happy to find that for $1. I was telling Jason before the stream started, I'm trying to fill some Daredevil where and when I can, so I got 259.
Oh, JR.
Yep. Because I think most of this is a Zdarsky run. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe this one's not. It's a Women of Power Elektra variant on Daredevil 5. I think it was Charles Soule actually on this particular one.
Is that the Soule run?
I think this one was the Charles Soule run, but I think the next two are Zdarsky. I got the issue 25 Nullified variant. This might have been around where Elektra became Daredevil. So that was a cool cover for Biley. It's a Stegman cover.
Yeah, it's nice.
No, this is Ken Lashley. Sorry. Ken Lashley did this cover. I may actually get this double sign at C2E2. We'll see. Found the issue 1 for $1. A cover A on that.
For $1. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, yeah, I think I read this one already. I read it on Unlimited. And then the last one out of this stack, as I got Amazing Spider-Man 575. He's getting his face punched in.
Is that a Scotty Young cover?
I believe it's Bocciolo, Chris Bocciolo.
Oh, it's Chris Bocciolo, okay.
Yeah, who did your new X-Men from earlier.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's my little half-price stack.
I got a few more things I want to share before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, this was
cool.
Apropos for the evening. Marvel's Nighthawk and Blur. These haven't been unboxed yet. Also got me the Dr. Spectrum and Hyperion. And, you got to finish it out with the Power Princess.
Yeah.
She came in a separate wave.
Fun timing.
Yeah. So, I haven't opened these guys up yet. I'm looking forward to it at a certain point.
Nice.
Which is dope. I can't wait to get the rest of this wave, though. I did get Crystar and Justice and Namorita. But that's like late 90s Namor.
Oh, okay.
Where he got like all edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get that.
That foil.
I want me some edgy Jai Lee Namor.
What's the Build-A-Fig that it makes?
The Void. The Void.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Which is like I got some tentacles over there, but I got no Void. Some tentacles on the floor.
All right.
Story of my life.
Anybody else want to share anything? Otherwise, I think we'll go ahead and get some final shout outs here and then sign off unless you guys want to show anything else.
I think I'm good, buddy.
All right.
Jason,
where can people find you?
Right here on Modern Men.
All right. Drew, anywhere you want to send them?
You can't find me. I'll find you. I'm going to tell you that every week. I'm coming. Awesome. Coming for you. I'm coming hard.
And you can find me right here on Seawater 19. Maybe I'll do a whole video one day. I'll bring back the Tuesday night live stream if I ever have a Tuesday off again. Otherwise, we'll be back here on Modern Men. We won't be live next week. I'll be out of town, Chicago, C2E2. After that, no one had any Star Wars suggestions, so we'll just come up with something, I guess. Maybe May the 5th we'll record or go live again. And then in about 1 month's time, I'd like to do some X-Men 97 talk. Maybe we'll read some new X-Men along with that. Maybe we'll just talk about the show once it concludes. But I definitely want to touch more on that on a focused video for sure, because that has been a blast to watch so far. So
yeah, for
if
sure.
You're watching X-Men 97. Try to stay caught up, and we'll get a big group together and talk about it. Definitely want to. So that goes for you too, chat. Make sure if you guys, we're gonna be talking full spoilers at some point.
Full spoiler.
Oh yeah. I guess until JB's not here to tell us to have a good time. So I guess until next time, newsstand.